I mean, it leads right into my next point of doing things safe versus risky. And what we're taught to do with investing, and I've kind of already alluded to this, but I'll expand on it, is we talked about that hierarchy, that pyramid that, we see it in the food pyramid, right? Our foundation is built on grains, right? Where it's like, it's really opposite because fruits and vegetables are at the top, and we really should probably be fruits and vegetables at the bottom with some meats and eggs in there. And, we have this inverted diet, and we wonder why in the nation that we're in, excuse me, that we're really obese and really unhealthy, and all these cancers and all this stuff is through the roof. It's like, well, maybe we're doing things opposite. Well, then when we look at, are most people thriving financially? Probably not. Now, there's a lot of factors that play into this. Part of it is just the American programming around money and debt and consumerism and have all this stuff, right? That's part of it, obviously. But part of it is the pyramid that we're following financially is inverted as well. Investing should be at the top of the pyramid. It should be done as the last step in your wealth building process. Maybe second to last as far as like legacy and trusts and things like that. If you have a lot of assets to worry about, that's probably the very, very top. But you should have a solid foundation. Some people have an income problem. They're not making enough money. They're withholding their skills, their value from the marketplace or from their job. They're afraid to step out. They're afraid to make a bigger impact, which correlates to more income. I go through these layers myself. I have for many years of extending my income, growing myself, realizing I have great value to give to other people and not stepping into that fully. And my income reflected that. I wasn't making enough money. But the more I step into my greatness, my bank account is directly, correlated with that, because when you give value, value is received. I mean, it's just a law of reciprocity. There we go. Yep. Big word. That's just a universal law that we deal with. So, some people need to start there. They have an income problem. And then if you get the income problem figured out, you're making enough money. Some people have a debt problem. They have a spending problem. So those things need to get handled. And the reason we say that is because we come across people, Matt, that they're putting all kinds of their extra money into their 401k to try to get that 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12%, whatever the number is this month that they're saying you get in the market. They're doing that, but then they're paying 18, 25, 30% on their credit cards. And it's like, but you're not putting your extra money towards the thing that's eroding your money. You're trying to grow your money faster at a lower percentage, right. 6% in your 401k, than you are paying 25% in your credit cards. So you got to get the credit cards handled, because here's the thing. If you got rid of your 25% credit cards, that's like a 25% rate of return.
Right.
And actually more than that when you do the calculation over many years and think about volume of interest. It's much more than 25%. It could be 200 or 300% sometimes. Yep. But if we don't tackle that part first, we shouldn't be investing. Now, it doesn't mean, and this isn't like everybody follow this. This isn't our financial advice for everyone. This is a concept of thinking about, where's my money going? Am I growing my money more or eroding my money more? If I'm earning 6% and paying 20% in interest, mathematically that might not make sense for your situation. Now, for some people, they still might want to be doing a little bit of both, but their extra go towards the debt. Again, not one size fits all advice, but it's questioning what we're doing with our money and making sure we have a solid foundation. And then usually from the income, the debt, then we go into, okay, now let's look at the protection part of our life. Are we protected in the ways that we need to with the right insurances? And this is where life insurance comes in. And it might just be term insurance at this point. It might not even be talking about infinite banking and dividend paying cash value life insurance. It might not even be at that point yet. But if you got hit by a car tomorrow morning on your way to work and you were dead, what would that mean for the rest of your family for the next 10 years? If you don't have that box checked, maybe we shouldn't be so focused on all the investing that comes next, right? Maybe we shouldn't be doing that first. So those are the things that I see a lot with clients, is doing things out of order or not having the right things in place first, maybe because it's not as sexy or it's not as lucrative, or you can't brag about your, big 20% growth this year in your S&P 500 index fund, but really challenging what you're doing, why you're doing it, what order should you be doing it in to play it much more safely so you can build on a good foundation, having an emergency fund, having an opportunity fund, doing all those things. And then once you have like a good opportunity fund, you got maybe 6 months minimum of expenses put away, then you can maybe start swinging for the fences and think about, okay, now it's time to invest. But if we invest first, if we invert the pyramid, right, we got our whole pyramids on this little point, it doesn't take a whole lot for that pyramid to tip over and everything to fall apart. Now, the tipping over could be you lose your job. The tipping over could be the markets crash by 30 or 40%. There's a lot of things that can happen that can really disrupt the stability of our financial life. And if we're waiting on that nest egg or praying on that nest egg to be there in retirement, and that's when the markets drop 30, 40%, and we're still supported on an inverted pyramid because we've put all of our eggs into the investment bucket, and something happens, that can really mean a devastating retirement. And there's a lot of people that have to go be a greeter at Walmart again because they didn't have good education and a good financial structure. So I'll leave it open for some comments back on that, but that's one of the things that I see, so often.
It's massive. I think the pyramid analogy is perfect for it. It's just like the food pyramid where everything is really backwards. It's the same thing with personal finances. I talk about this on my channel quite a bit. I talk about it a lot as I've put together what I'm calling my Millennial Wealth Creator Blueprint, where it takes what we're taught, which is like what we're taught is literally putting the cart before the horse, where we get the job and we put a little bit of money into our 401k and these tax qualified plans, and hopefully that's going to build wealth for us. And a lot of the times, unfortunately, people are sadly disappointed, and then it's too late to do anything about it. And as I researched this stuff more, what I found was, like, again, there's nothing necessarily wrong with the 401k, but the reason that so many people are not actually really benefiting from it is they can't contribute enough. Well, why can't they? Like when you look at the number of millionaires, like 401k millionaires, the majority of them reach that point not because the stock market did something amazing. I mean, we've been in a great bull run, but nobody knows what the market's going to do over the next 10 years. How do you know we're not going to enter another lost decade like we did from 2000 to 2010, right? How do you know that's not going to happen? Right. So, but when you look at the success of people that people have had with 401ks, it always comes down to making sure they're able to contribute enough. They're actually maxing out that 401k. That's what actually makes the big difference. The question becomes, why aren't people able to contribute more? Well, one of the things you mentioned was credit card debt is out of control. People don't have control of their debt. And what's interesting is that, so a lot of the times people treat credit cards like an emergency fund, right? Why are we doing that though? Well, it's because we're putting the cart before the horse. We haven't put a really good financial foundation in place so that when something happens, then we have to tap credit cards at 25, 30% interest, as opposed to maybe tapping something like a dividend paying whole life insurance that serves as just a phenomenal emergency fund. Great competitive interest rates. It's simple interest as well. You have flexible payments and all that stuff. Plus your money's growing at the same time. But it's like we're not taught to put that foundation in place. And then here's the other part of it, putting the cart before the horse. We're not taught to max out our income. So what we're taught to rely on these financial tools to build our wealth for us, as opposed to us being our greatest assets and building wealth that way. So my question to people is, well, why do we want to wait 30, 40 years to become a millionaire on paper? Why don't we just learn how to become a millionaire now? And when I say millionaire, I mean, that is very subjective. I'm not saying everybody has to become a millionaire. My point is, why are we waiting and trusting something to build wealth for us over such a long period of time when we have the ability to build massive wealth ourselves by the value that we provide to people? And it's a lot simpler than what people think. And again, going back to my blueprint, step one is always income. Step two is building the vault. That's your foundation. And step three, that's when we start really putting money to work, whether it's the stock market. I like Bitcoin. I like private money lending, right? You take your pick. But people are doing that kind of stuff first before they have their income figured out. And, they're putting $200-300 a month into their 401k. It's like, I mean, I suppose you could argue that's better than nothing, but I would argue that money is far better served investing back into yourself so that you can learn how to double your income, right? Get some continuing education, go to YouTube University. You can learn anything that you want, learn how to increase your income. So then you could put $2,000 a month into your 401k. Now we're talking about moving the needle here. But if you're putting just a couple $100 a month into these things, it's not going to make a significant difference in your life over the long run. What I can tell you personally that will is investing back in yourself, learning how to increase your income. Always increase your income as much as you can. Create passive income streams Now you've got income coming in. You can make much more strategic financial moves that are far more in alignment with what you actually want to accomplish, right? Maybe it's funding a dividend paying whole life insurance policy. Maybe it's not. Maybe it is those tax qualified plans. I don't care. But you got to have your income right. Because if you don't have your income right, how are you able to put enough money into these things? And then if you lose that income, you don't have a good solid financial foundation. Now you have to tap into these various different things that you were investing into for the long run. Now you're interrupting the growth. The pyramid collapses at that point, right? We need to flip the script here. All right. No more putting the cart before the horse. Focus on the income. What can I do to make as much money as I possibly can with what I am really good at? Okay. Next step. All right. I've got money coming in. Where can I start to put this to create a foundation? Not take a massive amount of risk with it. Build the foundation first. It's going to get good, safe growth. I can tap into it as an emergency fund. It can serve as an opportunity fund as well. And then once I have my foundation in place, as my income continues to grow and continues to come in, now I can take more risk. Maybe I want to do Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, stock market, whatever, right? But it's just, man, I'll tell you, I sleep so much better at night doing it in that order because I got the income coming in, I have my foundation, I have my long-term investments, and I'm not worried about massive like economic crashes and all this stuff. It's like when you put that foundation in place, it feels like you're bulletproof almost. I mean, no one's really bulletproof financially, but you can weather the storm a lot better. You can make much better moves, right?
What's up, my fellow wealth creator? Thank you so much for checking out this clip from the Millennial Wealth Creator podcast. If you'd like to watch the full podcast, there will be a link down below in the description. Make sure to also check out the additional tools, training, resources that I have in the description as well, just to help you along your journey. Thanks again for checking out the clip, and we'll see you in the next one.